Hello, today we're going to be reading about Jesus's first disciples and how they came to him. But we're going to be reading two different accounts of this, one from John and one from Matthew. I will start with the account from John. This is John chapter 1, verses 35 through 46. My place here. The next day, John was standing again with two of his disciples. When he saw Jesus walking along, he said, "Look, the Lamb of God." The two disciples heard what he said, and they followed Jesus. When Jesus turned and saw them following, he asked, "What are you looking for?" They said, "Rabbi," which is translated teacher, "where are you staying?" He replied, "Come and see." So they went and saw where he was staying, and they remained with him that day. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. One of the two disciples who heard what John said and followed Jesus was Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter. He first found his own brother Simon and said to him, "We have found the Messiah," which is translated Christ. He led them to Jesus. Jesus looked at him and said, "You are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas," which is translated Peter. The next day, Jesus wanted to go into Galilee, and he found Philip. Jesus said to him, "Follow me." Philip was from Bethsaida and the hometown of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law and the prophets, Jesus, Joseph's son, from Nazareth." Nathanael responded, "Can anything from Nazareth be good?" And Philip said, "Come and see." So that is John's account. And next, we are going to read Matthew's account. This is Matthew chapter 4, verses 12 through 23. Now, when Jesus heard that John was arrested, he went to Galilee. He left Nazareth and settled in Capernaum, which lies alongside the sea in the area of Zebulun and Naphtali. This fulfilled what Isaiah the prophet said, "Land of Zebulun and land of Naphtali, alongside the sea, across the Jordan, Galilee of Gentiles. The people who lived in the dark have seen a great light, and a light has come upon those who lived in the region and shadow of death." From that time, Jesus began to announce, "Change your hearts and lives. Here comes the kingdom of heaven." As Jesus walked alongside the Galilee Sea, he saw two brothers, Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew, throwing fishing nets into the sea because they were fishermen. "Come, follow me," he said, "and I'll show you how to fish for people." Right away, they left their nets and followed him. Continuing on, he saw another set of brothers, James, the son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were in a boat with Zebedee and their father repairing their nets. Jesus called them, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. Let's see, I'll stop there. So these two different versions, John's version and Matthew's version of the story, they're about the same event, right? They're about when the disciples first started following Jesus and gathering with him. But they give different details. They tell slightly different stories, right? So how are they? They're the same in that a lot of the first disciples are the same, and Jesus encouraged them to follow him, to come with him, to join him as students of his, with Jesus as the teacher. But they differ in some of the details, right? Like Matthew refers to that Simon and Andrew, he says that they were fishing when Jesus came across them. And John doesn't say anything about that. And John mentions some other details that Matthew doesn't mention. So why do you think these writers included different details? They might have wanted to emphasize different things, or they might have remembered or understood the situation differently. Think about stories that you've related about a particular event to someone else. Say you told a story to your parents about something that had happened that day, but your sibling told it totally differently. Or for you less young folks, maybe you have a memory that you relayed to others that your spouse remembers entirely differently, right? There's even that song about it, right? In that old musical, I forget what the musical was, but I remember it so well, right? Everyone remembers things differently. And there's always certain details of a particular event that are going to be important to one person, but maybe less important to someone else. So our stories of the same thing might be very different because we were seeing and hearing the same thing, but that our experience of that moment could be very different from how others experience that moment because we're going to notice different things and different things are going to be important to us. And so we're going to remember it differently. So we experience events differently, and we also experience God differently because we're all unique, and so we all experience God in our own unique ways because we all have different things that are important to us. And just like we experience things differently as individuals, there's many different denominations of Christianity, not to mention other religions across the nation and cultures around the world that also experience God or whatever their name for God or gods is very differently. But that doesn't mean we can't be united in our way we experience the divine, and that we do experience the divine and value it, even if our beliefs differ. And it also doesn't mean we also can still be united in our desire for the greatest good. So we all have different perspectives, right? And we all see things differently. But this just means we all have something to share that someone else might not have seen or noticed or felt. All our unique perspectives provide different ways of looking at things, and others' differing perspectives can enhance the way we see something, just beyond our narrow vision. And so by sharing the different ways we see things, we can provide information to each other and broaden all our outlooks. That is all for today. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next time.